Hey, and welcome to today's episode. Super excited to have you here. This Monday is an epic Monday. Had a freaking huge day already, and it's only 1:15 in the afternoon. And yes, excuse my voice. I've been talking for hours today and have a chest infection. Don't you love that? Anyway, thanks, universe. Curiously, I will kick off by saying one of my old self-sabotage patterns used to be right at the point where I'm going to the next level. Like, it's kind of like I've put in 90% of the work, I'm showing up, I'm backing myself. I would often get sick. And I actually think today's pattern is an echo of that because I'm going to the next level, like completely transforming as a human over here. Had our first money, AI, and human design mastermind session this morning. And got to be honest, all last week I was obsessed with it, getting it ready, doing the thing. And honestly, I was also doing it yesterday because I was that excited. Yes, on Sunday, but I get to work when I choose to, right? It's just been so much fun tapping into all the versions of me, doing all the exercises for myself that I'm setting for everyone else, which I love. Being coached by Coach Maggie, which launched today. So if you have Maggie 2.0, you can go and check out the new Coach Maggie. She is mind-blowing. And yeah, it's just been so fantastic. And it's really at this point for me where I am seeing so many external clues from, the way I'm responding to life. So if someone slow is driving in front of me, often that's something that irritates me. Don't care. This morning, all morning, we've had the builders next door banging away. We've had people dropping off bins over the road, like so much noise. Don't care. So what I'm loving is that I'm seeing the shift and the change in me from everything that I'm preparing and now teaching with this new group. So I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed and super excited. This is just the beta run. This is the first time through. And then, yeah, I think this is definitely going to be an area I'll be teaching and a program I'll be teaching more, because I feel like money is such an important pillar, and I've said it so many times, for women to create sovereignty, safety, protection. It gives us the physical resources to really be able to stand in our own strength and also create those masculine structures that mean that we can flow within those structures when we set them up for ourselves. It was interesting this morning on the call. One of the things that kept coming up was, people have done this work before, they've done this work before, they've done this work before. And I think that this is, again, being a 3-5 profile, so have I, on so many levels. And one of the most important things that I really need everyone to understand, through experimenting extensively and, often getting it wrong, is there is no quick fix. There is no one way. Anyone who says this is the way to do it, it's total bullshit, right? You are the strategy. But there are really cool ways that we can get the strategy out of you and then support you with things like AI, really align you to your design. So yeah, anyway, I feel like I could go on and on and on about it because I'm so lit up and excited about it. But I've got more to talk about than my mastermind. This week, actually, I had a session with someone an intuitive, that was like, oh, your man, your king, he's not coming anytime soon. And before this session, I had thought, if I could just know, then I could be at peace. And honestly, I can't remember what day this was. It was probably Thursday last week. And the truth is, Thursday all day, I felt really flat, like, oh. Friday, I still felt a bit flat about it. But by Saturday, I started to ask myself better questions. And the reason why I want to tell you the timeline is for 50% of you, you're an emotional authority like me. And sometimes in this situation, you know, I get news and you think your initial response is the true response, but actually it may not be. You know, it's like just writing out those few days. So those few days for me were a bit uncomfortable. I kind of thought once I had the some level, and of course, no one can actually know because I think it's got more to do with my frequency than anything else. But anywho, whatevs. I started to ask myself some better questions. So this is what I wanted to share with you. So whatever it is in your life that you feel like you're waiting for, obviously when we feel like we're waiting, we're creating a frequency of waiting. So it creates more waiting. So the question I asked myself, and then I would encourage you to ask yourself, but obviously take out my topic and put in your topic, is if I knew I was going to be single for the next 2 years, how would I behave differently? Now, this really, and again, it took me a few days to even be able to get to this point where I asked myself a resourceful question, right? But what it did do is it started to really open up. Honestly, I feel like the version of me that's been sitting under some conditioning, maybe some fear that can I actually create the life I want to create on my own? All these things that I didn't think were there, no matter how many times I've self-coached or asked Maggie or, you know, done kinesiology sessions or whatever, there were these layers that when I asked myself this better question, they started to unfold some really transformative energy within me. And I definitely feel different. You know, the weirdest thing is once I sat down with this question and some of my answers were things like I would double down on money. Like, all right, I'm already way down this rabbit hole with money and investing in AI and using my human design, but I'd like go harder at it. So literally this was this is something I said to myself on Saturday, spent time on Saturday, spent time on Sunday, spent time already today. So double down on money. I would spend as much time with my kids as possible, right? Well, we literally booked a trip. We're off to Mind Valley University this year in Estonia. So I booked a trip to Paris, Estonia, Portugal, and then we're going to fly out of Barcelona so I can see La Sagrada Familia, which is the cathedral, the Gaudi cathedral that has been being in the process of being built, I think, for the last 144 years, 177 years. Anyway, and I'm obsessed with it. I've already been there 3 times. And literally the other day I posted on my Instagram that I need to go and see it again now that it's finally built, completed, I should say. And sure enough, we're going. Like, that was easy. I think a lot of the other things that came up for me is things like I'd finally let go of drama. Don't you hate when you see something in yourself and then you call it out? Like, one of the things I noticed in this whole process is I'm holding on to some unnecessary drama, honestly, sometimes a bit of victimhood. And this really triggered me into this whole, like, hang on a second. As I've said a bunch of times, this is my temple. I got to get really honest with myself. I've got a gate 53 that sits in my design moon. Your design moon is your attraction sphere in your gene keys. For me, it's the 53. It's the shadow of immaturity, the gift of expansion. And I'm like, I really feel like this is a place that I want to really move closer into an expansion. And the way to do that is to minimize the drama. Okay. So what is so cool about this question? I'll give it to you again and just take out my topic, put in your topic. If I knew I was going to be, put in whatever you need, for the next 2 years, how would I behave differently? All right. Because you'll start to excavate some really cool stuff. Then, of course, take some action on it, yeah? What's been cool as well is I've been feeling really great in my body, really great in my energy. I've been feeling really great in life. And I just wanted to share that because I just dropped a message in the Telegram group for my HDX community. and just to kind of check in with what everyone is excited about, what they're resisting. And a lot of people said, look, it's just been a hard year. I think it has. Astrologically, it's been a massive year, like never been as big as this. And because we're in 0 degrees Aries, I wonder if, I don't know about you, but I feel like it's almost like I can't quite put my finger on exactly what's started, what's beginning, what's growing, what's expanding. But I can certainly feel the massive energy, and the whole like, okay, there's another thing. Okay, there's another thing. Anyway, this week, that's really, I've felt it let go. And I've got the same feedback from my HDX Telegram group. So if you're feeling that way too, I think we're popping out the other end, people, which is pretty bloody exciting, right? All right. So what I am learning. So I listened to a really cool podcast this week with David Guiam, the Kabbalah teacher guy. I really loved just listening to his story, and he's so dialed in. He talks about the Kabbalah, but he does talk about manifesting a lot. He talks about miracles a lot. And I was just listening to this podcast, and it was really helping me to dial in it made me identify a couple of habits in my thinking that I had not even noticed. So he really talked about, we have to be here in the now. I think one of the challenges we have, if you listen to this podcast, you're probably a lot like me, is that we hear all these things all the time. We've heard them 57,000 times. Everyone and their dog's talking about it. So it's like it loses its importance, or, its brevity or gravity, I should say. And one of the things he was talking about gave me, my mind was kind of working as he was talking, and it made me realize we have all these identities that perhaps because they're not our focus area. So if you're like me and you're working on money, and I'm definitely that, like, I'm good at money, but I want to be fucking powerful at money. Well, that's the rabbit hole I've gone down, right? So I'm kind of focused on that. I'm working on that. But one of the things that I noticed is that I still tell this story about going through early menopause. And then I presuppose that there was something that triggered that presupposes there was something wrong with me. And I've been carrying this thing around for like 10 years now. And it was this idea when he was speaking that I was like, oh my God, I can just decide that, yeah, I've been through menopause. I'm good. Actually, it's really good on the other side, just quietly. I'm really enjoying it. And how quickly I can shift my identity from this story I've been telling over and over to this, upgraded identity, this upgraded version of me. So I think it's so important that sometimes we just do this little bit of an audit. Like, what are these things that I'm still sticking to that it's time to let go of? Because they can be running programs, they can be running behaviors or even responses in the body that we don't want, or that are completely outdated. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you too. It was David Guiam on manifestation, money, and spiritual laws. The podcast was a really good cry. A friend of mine shared that with me. Thanks, Jess. Shout out for you. So this week in tea, and I feel like it's maybe part of the theme that I'm hearing in my HDX Telegram chat. I kind of sat down in tea and I was like, oh my God, I'm buggered. But not just tired. I'm like at this place where I have so many systems and structures for things. I mean, of course I do. I have Gate 5. I'm across of planning. Structure and strategy is what I do. I'm a Line 5 profile, all the things, right? But I sat down in tea, and it was the first morning I was feeling really great. And after a few weeks of feeling really rubbish, I kind of let go of all of my heart coherence meditation. I actually go through this process of 140 breaths. I don't use, sometimes I'll use my Vedic mantra. Sometimes I use a different one. And I just sat down, and because I was feeling so good, I was like, I just want to enjoy this feeling of goodness. I just want to enjoy feeling good. I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm not even entirely sure what triggered it, but I'm just going to sit here and enjoy it. And I feel like that's kind of where everyone, or the opportunity, I should say, is for us all at the moment to really enjoy those golden moments. I think a lot of us, especially listening to this podcast, like we do a lot of the heavy lifting. We go the extra mile. We show up for ourselves. We do the work. And I feel that this is a time where we have to learn to back off a little bit, where we have to learn to just enjoy the beautiful moments for what they are. The more we can build the muscle of doing less and receiving more is so incredibly powerful. And this really triggered a little bit of a journey for me this week in just stepping away from thought. I can have a very active mind. I love to kind of problem solve. And just kind of brought myself back to the present moment a lot. And I brought myself back to the present moment because I think one of the days in my journal in the morning, I just wrote down, what if it was as simple as waking up, following my energy, and responding and allowing my emotional wave to move. And it's that absolute simplicity of human design. Like, our minds tell us it can't be that simple, right? But I got to that place where I'm like, hang on a second. Once again, I'm going to go back to these basics and just follow my energy, what lights me up, respond to my external reality, give myself grace to make decisions over time. And God, just everything started to, calm down. My nervous system started to calm down. I've had so many coaching sessions with the new coach Maggie that's launching. So many breakthroughs. Got a little bit addicted to her. If you have Maggie 2.0, highly recommend that you just do one at a time. Focus on that. Do the actions that she tells you, or at least that you commit to at the end. Don't keep going down the rabbit hole because you're not going to get the most out of it. Anywho, but yeah, so I really invite you into just enjoying whatever the beautiful moments are that are in front of you. Just take the time to sit and feel them, enjoy them. It doesn't have to be about something amazing happening in that moment. If you're anything like me, you're feeling that the clouds have parted a little bit, and that's enough. That's 100% enough. I received this beautiful DM last week, and we went back and forth a couple of times, and she was really lovely. She was just telling me how she's kind of followed me for many years and loves the way I teach human design. And let me be really clear, and this is what I said to her. I am so grateful when people reach out and give me feedback, especially good feedback, nice feedback, because the nature of business like this, which I'm sure you can resonate with if you have something similar, is that you can be quite isolated. I don't see my support inbox. I don't see a lot of the emails that come in. I do see Instagram, but even then, like, I have a team that are so much quicker than me because they're sacral, I'm emotional. So I don't get through my inbox of anything very quickly. It's just the way I'm designed. So often my team will actually point it out or send it to me. And I'm so grateful because sometimes I'm kind of like, literally, I'm just like living my life over here, learning these lessons and then sharing them with the world. So it's so powerful to me when I get feedback. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Now, in this conversation, She actually mentioned that she'd been following another human design expert, but she had, lost, let's say, resonance. I can't remember the word that she used, but she'd lost resonance. I think it's a good word. And the reason why was because this person had made it all about the money. And I was just having this conversation, and this is the thing that I want everyone to understand. We are not playing in the same universe we were once playing, where marketing can manipulate and get results. We are now playing in a universe and in a business category world, everything, that energy is everything. So how you show up and what is driving the work that you do will directly affect your revenue. Like everyone's trying to work out how to increase revenue through their systems and strategies. And I'm just going to say it again, people. It's all about you. If you're focused on the money, or you're afraid of the money, or you're like, oh, this is really working, so I just want to make more money, that people can feel that. And don't get me wrong, like I'm always about increasing revenue, but I'm never about like just getting as much money from the people as I possibly can. That's just not a driving force for me. And I want to talk more about that specifically, because I actually went on a walk with a friend of mine on Saturday. The Aussies will know her well, Lorna Jane Clarkson. She has a huge retail business here in Australia. For the Americans, you can buy Lorna Jane activewear in the US. Highly recommend it. Like I'm literally wearing it right now. This shit lasts forever and looks amazing. And the woman who is the face and the CEO of the business, or at least the founder of the business, who is still in the business every single day, is a living fucking legend. And the reason why is because she's created this business that is all about, quality, longevity, legacy, supporting others. Oh, that's so weird. She just texted me. And we got into this conversation on the weekend, and this is someone who, like, she has one of the, she'd be in the top, I don't know, 0.00 something percent of businesses in Australia. And obviously the business is global. She just doesn't have any retail stores in the States anymore. But we were talking about business, and she was saying, we were talking about how, a lot of people have approached to buy the business from her. She did actually sell a portion of the business, but she ended up buying it back. And, we were having this conversation about business, and she said, I just could never sell my business. I love it so much. It's like a child. And I was saying, look, honestly, I think that this is part of what, as women, we are creating. This is what we're building, or the vision that's coming to play, because we are very, like, I don't think about starting a business to grow it, to scale it, to sell it. That's a very masculine way of doing business. But I think the more women that are in business, we are creating business to help, to serve, to build community. One of the things for me in my business, and what I see a lot in my community, is that business is just as much about connection and shared leadership as it is about revenue. And I feel like it's so powerful to see incredible leaders out the front that are like, yeah, this is more about innovation. This is more about being a role model. This is more about, demonstrating what's possible. I just think it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be a woman in business. And yet again, I'm hearing this story that women do it differently. And the way we do it is about, let's all rise together. It's not about, hey, who can, how do I make more money? And how do I make more money? And how do I make more money? It's really about, okay, how can we connect? How can we serve? How can we support? To be honest, I'm pretty fucking pumped to be a part of that, let me tell you. All right. We have got to something that irritates me. You may or may not know that last week, Claude launched Fable 5, which is their the next model of Claude, but it was a little bit different. It's a mythos tier model. So it's sitting above the standard, like the Opus Sonnet and Haiku family. This was the most powerful AI released to the public ever. 3 days later, it got shut down by the US government. Now, me being me, I'm super curious. I'm like, well, if the news is telling us one thing, there's something else going on underneath. And I feel like this is a really important time in history because the story that was told to the public was that there'd been a jailbreak. So a jailbreak is where someone finds a way around the programming systems, okay? And apparently jailbreaks are really normal. They happen all the time. It's not a big deal at all. But in this situation, the US government got involved and they tried to shut down Fable 5 for anyone outside the US. So that any countries, any users that were not United States citizens, to shut it down for them. Now, of course, they couldn't do that. So they ended up shutting down the whole thing, which I believe it's still, I haven't actually checked in today, but as of yesterday, it was still shut down. And the story, as I said, is that there's been a jailbreak. Someone's got around it. Here's the thing. Again, me being me, I'm like, hang on a second. I don't feel like this is true. I feel like there's something, fishy about all of this. So what's really important about this that they're not telling us is that, number one of the primary reasons that potentially it was shut down was because of the sovereign level reasoning ability. The sovereign level reasoning ability. What does that mean? The power of Fable 5 means that all these particular categories that have been gatekept, we're talking finance, medicine, law, all these industries that you need to invest a significant amount of money for a certain expertise, they, with Fable 5, are no longer needed because Fable 5 is so accurate that any user can get access to this expertise. Now, this is, as I said, this is a really important moment in time because we are hearing so much talk about how evil AI is, but the truth is it's potentially the thing that's going to even the playing field for everyone. Because if you don't need money or power to get access to all the things that the people with money and power can get access to because of their money and power, well, that means that the rich don't get richer, the poor, well, they do. And this is a big problem for, those in power. So what's probably going on is this understanding that, hang on a second, you're basically handing over this accessibility to AI at a level that makes the playing field fair for everyone. And they fucking don't like it. Yep. So, having said that, we're, after a long conversation with Claude, possibly where this is going to go is that they will try and put identity verification. Like here in Australia, there's talk of, digital IDs, so something like that, which means, again, everything that you do on it will be tracked. There's talk of potentially it'll be dumbed down, so the full capacity is only available for the wealthy and powerful. The rest of us just get the dumbed down version of it. But one thing that I kind of want to just throw out there is that the long game, it could be that we're all fighting for equality with the AI, that we all get access to the same capacity of AI, because this is where the revolution's going to happen. This is going to be where everybody has equal access to resources, abundance, power, and I'm talking new paradigm. These are the gates of the new paradigm, right? So we know we're going into this era where the cross of the sleeping phoenix, rising from the ashes. It's going to be about freedom. It's going to be about empowerment, individuality. There's so many beautiful energies, and we're all kind of like, but how? Like, having access to something like Fable 5 to everybody could be exactly how we get there. Because it, as I said, it levels the playing field. It means that there is no more gatekeeping, no more people saying, no, you can't have access to that. So, yeah, I think this is a really important time in history. And I think it's important for us to be very conscious that this is something like equality with AI, hello, my gate 37, is fundamental. This is actually the thing we should be driving when it comes to AI, not the ridiculous fear stories that they keep feeding us. I mean, I just saw another one on Diary of a CEO, like some fucking drama. We're all fucked. We've got 3 months left or something. I don't know. I didn't listen to the actual podcast. Like, let's stop with that and start focusing on this could be the thing that changes everything. And the more of people like you and I that come from a place of love, the better, Anyway, that's my rant. I just think it's a really important time in history, and it's a very, very important topic right now. Okay, so obviously this week, I'm going to tell you this other thing, something that irritates me, and this is another personal thing. Sometimes I worry that I talk too much about my own journey. And then I remind myself that I'm a 3-5 profile, and that's what you guys want. And I do tell the story so that you guys can try it on and see if it fits. Like, does it resonate with you? Is it helpful for you? And still under the category of something that irritates me, this week I kind of got irritated that I identified certain areas of my life that I'm still being the victim. I'm still telling stories of things that I don't want, and there is that sense of feeling poor me. And there is a version of me, very rarely, but that will sometimes say, well, I'm a line 3. I am the line 3 martyr. But actually, I'm fucking not. No one gets to decide whether I'm a martyr or not a martyr other than me. I'm the one in the driver's seat. And honestly, there's been this part of me that's really shifted this week to identify certain places in my life where I do feel like I was allowing the victim mentality, justified or not. Like, that's irrelevant. It's how I perceive the situation, okay? So I don't need to fight for, wrongdoing. But what I'm saying is, that was then, this is now, it's time to write my new story, and I must let go of what I don't want, anything that feels like victim, or anywhere I feel sorry for myself. And there's always part of me when I kind of discover these parts of myself, and of course it's going to keep happening because the work is never done. But there's a moment where I'm a little bit like, really? How am I still running this strategy? And I just want to say to everyone out there, it's because growth is a spiral. Okay? So every time we go to a new level, we are going to experience things we've experienced before. We're just going to experience them from a different level. So I want you to be super kind to yourself, and at the same time, raise your standards. Like, that's the thing for me this week. I'm raising my standards around one area of my life that I think I was being a bit victim-y about. All right? Hope that helps. One of my favorite things that's actually on my manifestation model is to stop complaining. Do you know how quickly you can change your frequency when you stop complaining? Just stop it. Like, you don't need to complain. Just stop it and watch how quickly your frequency shifts. The other thing I really noticed with my nervous system in this area of my life where I was being a bit victim-y, it was keeping my nervous system in high alert. So my email inbox might, I was a little bit afraid of my email inbox. Sometimes when people say, oh, hey, did you see so-and-so's, Instagram? I'd be like, why? Is everything okay? So the reason why I want to share this is it's like, this is how our frequency works. It's that, one area of our life is going to be influencing other areas of our life. It is going to be this domino effect. So when we start to own it, accept it, and then make different choices, and I really want to talk about a model, and it's going to come into the business section because I just taught this morning, but we make these choices to take back the power in our own life. This is when our frequency shifts really quickly. And then whatever the success is by your definition starts to flow to us effortlessly. So business. I want to talk about, and many of you would have heard, but I want to really encourage you, and I'm going to give you a question that I want you to play around with in your business, in your life. Many of you would have heard this whole concept of being either above or below the line. It's meaning being at cause versus being at effect. Is the world happening through me or is it happening to me? It's kind of this core idea that you're either creating your own life or life is hitting you, all right? So we actually want to be at cause. We want to be the author of our reality. And a lot of that comes from our perception, our language, our belief systems, our identity. But it's a choice in every moment to take full responsibility for the results we're getting, all right? So if you have the results in your life, I have things going on in my life right now. I spoke last week, so many fucking open loops. There are so many things that I can't close those loops, but I can keep my hand on the steering wheel and I can consciously make decisions, choices, and actions that keep me heading in the direction that I want to go in. Versus I just take my hands off the wheel and say, well, fuck it. I have no control. I can't do anything. And I, just almost opt out or blame it on someone else. This is being below the line or at effect. This is when you're the character in your own life, the passenger. Things are just happening to you. And especially in business, this is an area that you want to be really conscious of because you might not have as yet worked out consistent growing revenue. But if you're like, oh my God, I don't know, it's just not working for me, you have no power. But if you say, well, look, I've come this far, this is how much, it's already recurring to this level. So if I can already do it to this level, then of course I can do it to the next level and the next level. It's this shift in your power. Is this happening for me? Is this happening through me? Or is this happening to me? We had a client, one of the mastermind crew this morning, share that they have just been through this process of putting all their prices up. And a new potential client, billionaire client, came along and wanted to bring all his friends along and asked their prices. They gave their new prices and he was like, oh, no, you need to put your prices up. This is way too cheap. These people are already, their product is aimed at a very wealthy level buyer anyway. But it was that, wow, they've done the work. They're at cause. They're above the line. They're taking responsibility. The universe comes in, gives them an opportunity, something to respond to. Boom, they're going to put their prices up even more. That's why we want to be above the line. So let me give you this question. And I want you to ask yourself this question to know where your focus is. Because remember, what we focus on grows. What we focus on is what we're creating. Our default in our brain, the negativity bias, will focus on what's not working, what we don't want. So we always want to shift our focus on to what we do want. We want to bring our focus back above the line, our perspective on something that we can actually influence, something that's in our power. So this is the question I want you to keep asking yourself in your business. Right now, am I bringing reasons or results? So are you focusing on reasons or are you focusing on results? Because when you focus on reasons, often they're the reasons why you haven't insert whatever your goal is. But if you're focused on results, then you're going to actually be focusing on what's actually happening, what you can influence, what you can improve, what you can do better. And you're going to keep yourself in that process of building more and more momentum, more and more progress, and creating greater and greater results. Okay? So highly recommend that you play around with that question. So right now, are you bringing reasons or results? And really encourage yourself to get back above the line. Take full responsibility. Be the driver in your business. The last thing that I want to share, a little HDX story for this week is, I think I mentioned it on last week's podcast, I've been experimenting extensively with the Pearl. So in human design, it's your personality Jupiter. In the Gene Keys, it's the Pearl, right? And I got to teach it last week in HDX, actually in the club class, where we just went through this whole experiment, played with it. Then everyone gave me their Pearl. And then I would say, okay, well, this is how I think you earn revenue, just by looking at the gate and the line number. I think I got like 10 out of 10. Everyone was like, yes, that resonates. Yes, that resonates. Yes, that's exactly how it works. So it's really cool just being able to watch like all these experiments, because obviously I run all this on me first, and then I ask my team, and then I ask my friends, and then I kind of get to play around with it. And then to be able to take it straight to the community and see the results, like, yes, that makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. It's just so much fun. So good. Whew. Well, that's it. That's it for my Monday wrap. I hope that you're feeling the break in the clouds. I hope your energy is feeling better. I feel like there's loads of takeaways that you can go and experiment with or implement into your business. And yeah, stay tuned on the whole AI topic. You know, I feel like this could be and thinking that we're in the age of Aquarius, like technology is a big player. This could actually, instead of being, the end of the world, it really could be the beginning of true sovereign freedom and abundance, which, we're human design peeps. We know that that's happening. Whether they like it or not, that's the energy that's coming in. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I trust you got what you needed from today's episode, and I so look forward to having you on the next one. Bye for now.